Hey everybody, it's me, your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my movie series, Horror Movie Superlatives, in a collaboration with a good friend of mine, Carlin Cook. We're having a friendly competition where we're going through all the horror movies that came out throughout the decade of the 80s. We're going year by year and picking out some horror movie superlatives with 7 categories. We have one rule, which is you can only use a movie once. And when you see the movies that came out in 1982, there's definitely one movie that easily could win at least 3 of these categories. Those categories are Most Amazing, So Bad It's Good, WTF Movie, Best Score, Most Unique, Most Overrated, and Most Underrated. And after you get done watching this video, please go to Carlin's channel. There will be a link in the description down below. And watch his video on it. He's got the same title as I do on this one. And then after you watch both videos, go to the community tab on his channel and he'll have a poll up. And we need everybody to vote on who they thought had the better picks. Whether those picks most closely resemble your picks or whoever you thought had the best justification. It's up to you. We just really appreciate it if everybody can vote. And we're having a lot of fun doing this. Also, let me know and him know what your picks are in the comments down below. That's a fun part of this. Learning what you all would pick for your horror movie superlatives in these categories. Again, you can only use a movie once. So that's about it. Sit back, relax, enjoy the video as we pick out some horror movie superlatives for 1982. Let's get started. My selection for the most amazing horror movie to come out in 1982, John Carpenter's The Thing. I don't think you can go with any other movie that was released in 1982 for most amazing, and it really not be John Carpenter's The Thing. The directing is impeccable. The acting is incredible. Kurt Russell, Wilford Brimley, Keith David. The movie does such a great job at building tension. You don't know who to trust. The feeling of isolation. And that comes across in the score. And even when there's no music in the background, like when R.G. McCready is doing the blood test, if you listen, there's no music in the background really, but you hear the wind blowing outside. And that gives you a feeling of isolation, that these people are out in the middle of nowhere with no escape, and they have this monster that can disguise itself as a human. They don't know who to trust. And everything in this movie is just built all around that feeling. And the gore alone, this movie easily could have been the best gore category as well, but we could only use a movie once. But this is some of the best gore in the history of horror. Norris's death scene is just so iconic. It's terrifying. It's perfect. This is one of the best made horror movies ever. And if you haven't seen John Carpenter's The Thing, I hope you have. Stop this video now and definitely go watch it. And if you have seen it, after you're done watching this video and Crohn's video, go watch The Thing because that movie's just incredible. And it was an easy pick for me to select it as the most amazing horror movie to come out in 1982. My selection for the So Bad It's Good movie of 1982, Pieces. The tagline says, "It's exactly what you think it is," and that could not be more fitting. This is a crazy, insane, wild movie that I also could have put in the WTF category, but I do love this movie, Pieces. It's about a killer on a college campus who's killing young co-eds, and after he kills them, he's chopping up their bodies in order to make a jigsaw of a real woman. You don't know who the killer is to the end, but it's a silly, crazy movie. The acting is a little weird, especially one scene when they're talking about a waterbed.
The most beautiful thing in the world is smoking pot and fucking on a waterbed at the same time.
And then there's another scene that makes you go, really, what the hell? And while one of the main actresses is walking and this man jumps out, starts doing a bunch of karate at her, knocks her down, and then he just kind of gets up and walks away. It's really silly, but the effects are really great in this movie. It's a lot of fun. It's an early 80s slasher, to mimic the, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, and other early slashers. And I think it pulls it off. It's not the best movie you're ever going to see, but it's definitely one of the most, fun slashers you're ever going to see. It's got a lot of silliness in it. That one part where the main actress is very upset because she just found a dead body. yeah, you can definitely watch this movie and say it's so bad, it's good. And just like the tagline says, it's exactly what you think it is. And that's why I chose it as my So Bad It's Good movie of 1982. My selection for the WTF movie goes to Basket Case. It's directed by Frank Henenlotter. When you hear the name Frank Henenlotter, that name goes very well with WTF. Movie's about a pair of Siamese twins who are out for revenge against the doctors who separated them. And one of the twins is this small little head type creature kept inside of a basket, hence the name Basket Case. It's a real grimy feeling to it, but it's such a fun movie that really makes you go WTF. Especially the scene where Belial is in a hotel room and he gets out of his basket and he's just screaming this horrible scream as he's, destroying the hotel room. The ending really makes you go WTF when you see it. Most of Frank Henenlotter films make you say WTF, and I think this movie is perfectly fitting for that. It's a fun, wild, crazy movie, and if you've seen Basket Case, I think you'll agree with me that Basket Case is a perfect example of WTF movie for 1982. My selection for the best gore movie of 1982, Creepshow. I wanted to choose a thing, but we can only use a movie once, so I went with Creepshow. You got George Romero, Stephen King, and Tom Savini on special effects. That's a trifecta of awesomeness right there. It's one of the best horror anthologies out there, and definitely one of my favorite horror anthologies. It's broken up into 5 stories: Father's Day, The Lonesome Death of Jody Rurell, Something to Tide You Over, The Crate, and They're Creeping on You. Lots of fun stories. I love the father's corpse in Father's Day when he's climbing out to get to Delia and he's saying, "Where's my cake?" He just looks so good. The worms coming out of his face. Then you got The Lonesome Death of Jordy Rell, played by Stephen King. He turns into this big weed monster. Something to Tide You Over with Ted Danson. These waterlogged zombies at the end, done extremely well. Plus you got Leslie Nielsen in that story. Then you got The Crate, and they called the beast Fluffy. And Fluffy just looks incredible. Tom Savini is definitely a god when it comes to special effects. My least favorite story is They're Creeping on You because I hate cockroaches. And they used real cockroaches, and you can imagine the thousands that they had to use. But best gore is definitely deserving with Creepshow. Lots of great stories. You got Tom Savini behind the helm. The special effects are great, and I love it, which is why I chose it as the best gore for all the horror films that came out in 1982. My selection for the most unique film of 1982, this one may be a little bit different, but I'll try and explain it the best I can. But I chose Q, the Winged Serpent. It's a creature feature by Larry Cohen. You've got David Carradine in this movie, and you've got Michael Moriarty, who is always gold. I looked at all the movies that came out in 1982, and I'm like, okay, which one really stands out to me? And for me, it really was Q, the Winged Serpent, because if you look at the other movies, no other film really was like Q, the Winged Serpent. I think it's because what they used for effects. They went stop motion and models that was very reminiscent of the creature features that came out in the 1950s. I really didn't see that with many other movies that came out in 1982. If you've seen it, or I can show you, if you haven't seen Q, the Winged Serpent, it's about a giant winged serpent flying over the city, picking up people off the top of rooftops and killing them. And yeah, the special effects look kind of silly, but they're fun. And there really is no other movie like this that came out in 1982. And Larry Cohen made the movie he wanted to make with the effects that he wanted to use. And I like that for it. And that's why I had to select it as the most unique horror movie to come out in 1982. My selection for the most overrated horror movie to come out in 1982, I went with The Dorm That Dripped Blood. This movie just didn't leave a big impact on me. To me, it was just like a cash grab to, mimic the other early 80s slashers that they all wanted to jump on the bandwagon for. It's something that really left an impact on me. It's not necessarily a bad movie. I think there are a lot of slow scenes that the movie just kind of drags a little bit. And after watching it, there wasn't one part that really said, "Oh, I really remember that from the movie." It was, it was really fun and entertaining. Like my good friend Carlin says, every movie is worth at least one watch. But I think except for the Human Centipede movies, because F those movies. But the movie's definitely worth one watch. But I've heard other people talk about this movie saying it's a really great slasher. To me, I found it very forgettable. Again, not a bad movie. It's just nothing that left an impact on me. I just recently we watched it a week or so ago to prep for this video, and I really can't remember any part that really stands out. Again, not really a bad movie. It's just something that I think is a little overrated. And there were, when you look at the other slashers and horror movies that came out in 1982, there's a lot better movies than this one. And it's why I selected it as my most overrated horror movie that came out in 1982. And finally, my selection for the most underrated horror movie to come out in 1982, Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. This movie gets a lot of hate just because it didn't have Michael Myers in it, and I really don't think that's fair. If you just called it Season of the Witch, this movie would have a lot more love. And hating it just because it doesn't have Michael Myers is not right, because there are Halloween movies with Michael Myers that are not good. Halloween Resurrection, not a good movie at all. Halloween 3 is a much better movie. It's got Tom Atkins in it, and that's his second appearance in this video because he was on the wraparound story in Creepshow. Tom Atkins is gold, and he's gold in this movie. The scene where the kid has the pumpkin mask on and he's watching TV, and that tune is playing, that the earworm of a song, Happy Happy Halloween, and he starts grabbing his head and he dies, and all these bugs and snakes come out, and then his parents die. It's a really good scene. You've got Dick Warlock in this movie. Good special effects. Not a bad movie. If you haven't liked this movie in the past, give it another watch, but just don't go into it wanting Michael Myers, and you'll see it's a really fun horror movie. And I love the ending with Tom Atkins on the phone trying to get all the broadcast stations to turn off the song, stop it, stop it. Then he looks directly at you in the camera and tells, and screams, stop it.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
And it's a fun way to end the movie. And it's a good movie. And I definitely think it deserves the title of the most underrated horror movie to come out in 1982. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Those were all my picks, and here's a quick summary. Most amazing movie? Of course, John Carpenter's The Thing. So Bad It's Good? Pieces. WTF movie? Frank Henenlotter's Basket Case, of course. Best gore? Creepshow. Fluffy is incredible. Most unique? Q the Winged Serpent. Most overrated horror movie? The Dorm That Dripped Blood. And I just finished up talking about the most underrated horror movie, Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. I want to thank you guys for checking out this video. I really do appreciate it. Now, if you haven't watched Carla Cook's video, please go watch his video now. There's a link to his channel in the description, and the title is the same as this title. So go check it out, and then after you watch his, go to the community tab on his page and vote on who you thought had the better picks. Whether that person's picks most closely resembled yours, or whoever had the best justifications, whoever had the better video. However you want to vote, just vote for who you had the better picks. It's a friendly competition, and Carl and I are having a lot of fun. The comments are great. People are, learning new movies to watch, as am I, as is he. It's a lot of fun. So I want to thank you guys again for checking out this video, and don't forget to vote. I appreciate it, everybody. So take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Stay happy. Stay safe. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete. And remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.